Hello, CIS30A. This is the second part of the Programming Graphical User Interface GUI using GUIZERO package in Python. And so if you watched the last video, we left off with adding the window with title, text box, push button, slider, and picture. So the last step that we did was adding an image, which is a GIF, to our graphical user interface. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to add the combo box. And when we use the combo box, simply it's going to give you the drop-down menu that you would allow the user to select the options from the drop-down menu. So to start, for our import statement, we need to add combo, as we will be implementing combo box in our graphical user interface. So you simply add combo after picture. And then previously we created two functions for our push button and also for our slider. Then after the image or the picture widget, what we need to do is we are going to simply add a combo widget to our graphical user interface by declaring an object here. And so I named this user choice, and user choice is going to be a combo box. So you wanted to put in combo there. It's part of app, which is our window for graphical user interface that we previously created there. And then for our options, this is going to be a list. And so here I only include 3 options, but you can have more options than 3. So I simply label each of the option with the text or string. So here I would have option 1, option 2, and option 3. And you want to use the comma as the separator for each of the option in that list. So each of these are going to be treated as element, and this list is going to be called options. And we wanted to be able to pass this in our parameter so that way it will be as it is treated as part of the combo box. And you want to give this is where it's going to be positioned on the grid of that actual window. So we want to set this up where it would be positioned in column 1 and row 1 and column 0. So that way we can add a description, which we will be using a text widget next to it. And we want this to align left, or if you want it to align in the middle or right, you just need to specify the location that you want it to be aligned. So next to the combo box, we are going to add a text widget. We previously already have text as part of the import statement, so we simply declare another object called choice description, and it's going to be a text widget, so we would add text here, and it's part of our app. And so for the text display, we want to provide some kind of instructions or description about our combo box. So here I simply state select an option 1, 2, or 3. And so the grid for this, it's going to be next to our combo widget. So we want it to be on the left side of it. So it will be in the row 0 and column 0. And we also want it to be aligned left. And both of these widgets need to be added before the display method. So here we would then run it. And as you can see, we would have our combo box here, and we would have a default option 1 as that will be the first option that would be listed. So, and then next to it, we would then have select an option 1, 2, or 3 as the description so the user can then select the appropriate option. Now, notice that when I click on it, nothing really occurs because we didn't really create a function for the clicking event with our mouse once we select the option from our combo box. So if you want this option to be saved somewhere, you need to incorporate that into the script, and also, incorporate a function that would be executing when the option is selected. So as you can see here, we would now have a combo box and its description by adding in these widgets to our app. In this next step, what we will be doing is we are going to add checkbox. And checkbox allows the user to have an additional selection option on your graphical user interface. So from your import statement here, we are going to, after our combo, which is our last step for our combo box, we are going to add checkbox. And so with that, what we will do is where we left off with the combo box description, we would add another object that will be for our widget for our checkbox. So with this, I call this accept, and for that, that will be a checkbox, and it's part of our app, so that will go into the argument. So the checkbox is part of our app, which we previously created first, and then we have the text description for the checkbox. So here you want to give the user some kind of instruction or description about your checkbox. And so you can say click to accept the terms and the conditions, or select this option, and so on. And for this, we want it to be adjacent to our combo box and its description. So we would then use our grid 1 and 1, as it would be row 1 and column 1. And this will be aligning left. And so this widget would then be added before our display. You don't want to put it below after the display, because it needs to be established before it actually can build that widget here. So when we run this, as you can see, when we expand the window, we would see that here's our combo box in the last step, and then its description. And what we have just done right now is to create a checkbox, one checkbox. And so again, like I said before, when we click this, nothing really occurs because we didn't really create a function to do something with the clicking event from your mouse. So if you want this to really have some kind of sequential action after you select this checkbox, then you would need to add in a function for it. And then you would need to be able to implement the function either with the function call or command base. So here shows you how you can add the checkbox. In the next step, we are going to add a button group widget. So at the top with your import statement, as you are using button group, you want to bring that in. So we would then need to add button group after the checkbox. That was our previous step. Then next, what we're going to do is we are going to create the widget following the checkbox. So we had previously done the checkbox here. Then we are going to add the button group widget, and I declare this as pick choice. And so with the button group, you would then simply bring down button group here, and it's part of your app. So that will be the first object that we created. And similar to what you've seen with the combo box, you need to include the string into a list. But in this case, it will be a nested list for the options. So option 1 would, so I have first as in 1, second as in 2, and third as in 3. And so unlike the combo box, we would then use the nested list for our button group. Now with the button group, we would then have a selected option, which is the default selected option if the user doesn't select anything. So that will be the first. So we would have 1 there. And the position for this, we want it to be horizontal. So we want to say horizontal is true. and where you want this to be positioned on the app itself. So then you would state the grid, and we would have the position for that here, similarly to what we've done with the prior. And we want it to also align left. And this widget is then being added before the display. So then when we run this, we would see that you have the combo box that you have added with its description. We have a checkbox that we have added. And for the button group, simply that will be your radio button. So if the user doesn't select anything, it will default to first, or the user can select the second. And again, think about what the user is selecting, and if that is of significance, then you can implement the function in order to really bring in their selection to the next part of your program, as the user interface is now would have your button group. So here, as we can see, that we completed 9 steps. From the beginning, we added the title, and then we would then have a text widget. We would then add a checkbox where it would be able to register what the user input, and in this case, we would use our name. We also added a push button and we incorporated a function in order to really show our name, and it will replace the text information that was previously added as the welcome. And then we added a slider where when we slide from left to right, it will increase the font that would for the name that would be displayed. We also add an animated GIF along with our combo box with our options and its description, our checkbox, and our radio button, which is known as our button group. The completed program, you can see that we had added various widgets. I highly recommend you take a look at their documentation. I will also include the step on the page that would include this video, so that way you can also follow the written steps, or you can watch the video and follow that. Please let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching the video.